Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana, Expressions Craft Studio, and in our last video where we made the snow globe Christmas cards, I had mentioned that this snow globe base might or might not be a part of Cricut Access, Design Space Access. It is. So it won't be free to anyone who doesn't have it. However, I'm going to show you how to make it for free. You can do all of this for free, even without this base. You can just make your own. The circles are already free. The score lines are already free. And these shapes are all free. They're here under the shapes menu. And anything in there is free. So if you don't have a subscription, you can still do this if you have a Cricut. So there's a couple ways to do this. And initially this is my go-to shape, because it looks like it's right. You know, it's got the nicely rounded sides and flat top and bottom. And I'm going to make a copy of it because I'm going to show you that when you stretch it out, if it will let me, there we go. You see how that isn't rounded so nicely anymore? It's kind of not nearly, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't like it as well. So we're not going to do it that way. Now we can also try it with this oval shape that comes in there and kind of flatten it out, but you see you kind of get the same thing. It's more of an ellipse, is that the right word? And I really want these rounded edges. Now you could use those other shapes if that's what you're happy with, but I like this shape. So there's two ways we can do this. I'm going to duplicate this, and we're going to stretch it out. And let's see, how tall is that? That is, let's just make it 1.5. And then we're going to take this circle and we're going to make it 1.5. So I'm just going to use the down arrow. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to slide this up here out of the way. And if you take and you line these up properly, you can, let me bring that to the front, you can see that you'll get that shape again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all three of those pieces. I'm first going to align to the top or the bottom, and it did move them, so, and then I'm going to come down here and combine and unite, and that gives you that nice rounded corners there, rounded edges, as opposed to the more elongated, narrower edges. So I like that. So that's the slightly harder way to do it, or at least I thought it was. Turns out that was pretty easy. So here's the other way you could do this. Again, I'm going to duplicate this, and this is, we're just going to keep everything at 1.5. This I'm going to make a little taller. Well, I don't really need to. I want to just kind of come somewhere toward the middle here, and I want to just cover up this base image. And then I'm going to select both images and do a slice. So now you've got this one, and I like the fact that this is longer right here as opposed to this one, which is a little shorter here on the top flat piece. So I'm going to get rid of that. Boom, select it all and delete it. We're going to duplicate this. I'm going to then flip it horizontally, and this is again 1.5 high, so I want to make this 1.5 high. And we're just going to kind of insert. Now you can make this as long or short as you want it. Whoops, there we go. Let me just move that out of the way so we can see it better. As long as short as you want it. Pull this up. Stretch this out here a bit. So then I'm going to select all three pieces, and once again I want to align at the top or the bottom, just to make sure they're all straight across, and then we're going to combine. Now you can weld it if you like, or you can unite it. The good thing about unite is you can undo it. So there, we'll do a unite, and there you have your nice rounded shape. Now we can narrow that down a bit. Still not quite as nice. So you might want to work in the size that you want your finished image to be in, because it still changes the dimensions of that a little bit. But it's okay. You see how to do it anyway. So I'm going to just kind of size this to where it's the same. Oh, you know what? I'm going to unlock that and move this over so it's about the same as the one underneath it. Alright, so we can duplicate that, and this time we want this one a little bit thicker. I'm going to move it over here. There you go, a little bit thicker, and now you can play with this until you get it the way you want it. I'm just showing you how easy it is to do it. Okay, so our next shape would be, well, before we do that, let's go ahead and select both of those that we just created, and let's do a duplicate, and then we want to flip them horizontally, and we can just, whoa, we didn't want to do that. Control Z. Okay, so let's select them again, and we just kind of, okay, we'll just hand move it down. So we'll put this one kind of on the top, and we'll move this one, it looks a little longer here, and then you need one more, so let's just duplicate this one again. And we'll put it here on the bottom. So now that you've got all three of those, and let's zoom in a little bit. The guy at the voting place today asked me if I wanted large print, and I said absolutely, and then he worried that he had offended me. I'm like, oh no, the bigger the better. So now you want to select all three of those. It's not letting me select that outer one. Nope, let's do it this way. Okay, there's that back one. So now what we want to do is we want to align them all and center horizontally. That just makes sure they're nice and centered. And then you can group or combine. I'm going to go ahead and combine them or unite them just for now. And we'll do the same with this one. We're going to go ahead and just make sure it's centered horizontally. So, oh, we didn't select them both. Okay, here, let's try that again. There we go. So once you've got them both selected, you're going to align and center horizontally, and that did move that bottom one over just a little bit. And then you can go and combine and unite. So there's those two pieces. So now you need this middle piece here. And actually I'm going to pull this out. So for the middle piece, you can see you could use a triangle. You could use one of these hexagons, or even the pentagon if you wanted to flip it over the other way. Let's just take one of each, and I'll kind of show you what you need to do. So we got to close that. So in order to get this, we're going to undo our proportion lock, and you're going to have to really stretch this triangle out. You can do it, but you're going to have to work at it. You can see it's still not quite right. It's just got a little too much of an angle. I don't know if that'll help or not. So you can do it with the triangle, or you can do it with the top half of the hexagon. And again, it's a little bit more angled than we would like. So if we unlock our proportions up here, can we fix that a little? I think we can. Still not perfect, but it's, yeah, okay, well, anyway, you get the idea. So So what I'm going to do is I want to shorten that down just a bit. There we go. So I'll just use this triangle here. So I'm going to take and I'm going to flip it vertically. And I'm going to cover this up, this part that we were just working with. I should put them in different colors so we can see them. Let's do yellow. Ooh, that's bright. So now we want to select both of these, and we're going to hit our slice tool. And we're going to pull that out of the way. So now while this isn't exactly the same angle, it's pretty close. You could turn it a little bit, but then you're going to have to chop more off the top or the bottom because it will rise above this top portion of the base. So the next thing I would do is I would duplicate that, and I would bring it over here. And I would select both pieces, align them at the top or the bottom, and then I would combine them. So there you have, that's an option. The other way to do it is with this pentagon. So with this one, I'm going to change that color before I start anything else, just so we can separate everything out a little bit. I'm going to use green. I haven't used green. So I want to flip this vertical because that looks more like the right shape. And then we're going to start stretching it. So we want to unlock our proportions. You don't have to, but it'll help you get a better angle by stretching it. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Oh, that looks almost perfect. Okay, so now what do we need to do? So we've got a couple options. We've taken this one and this one, and we're going to bring them to the front. And then I think I'm going to duplicate them and just kind of pull them off over here for now. And what I want to do is I want to take the base, the green part, that's going to be the bigger block, and one, either the top or the bottom, and we're going to slice that out of there. And then we're going to do the same thing with the bottom one. If it'll let me grab it, there we go. And we're going to slice that out of there. So now we can get rid of some of this stuff. We don't want to get rid of that though. We'll get rid of this, 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 and okay, so we're going to select all that and just delete it. So now we have this base here, and that's really good. But we don't want the top and the bottom of this to show. So you have a couple options. You can put a larger square or a rectangle over that and slice it out with this top piece and the bottom piece, or you can go to contour and you can just unhighlight those. Wrong one. I want that. No, I was right. I do want this one. Okay, so we want that middle piece. So now you've got that middle piece, and we can bring these back over. Oops, wrong one. Okay, it's not letting me choose those. There we go. Strange. So now we bring these back over, and we want to center all that. So we're going to also select the green piece, and we're going to, let's see, align and center horizontally. And if we weld this now, or combine and weld or unite, you should get one piece. Okay, so we're going to come down here. We're going to make this a different color. You see what that did? It left those score lines in there. So we're going to go ahead and Control Z that, because we want to undo it. And we're going to select all those again. And we're just going to kind of slide this back down here where it's a little bit cleaner. And you have a couple options. You can move this down just with your arrow key 1 and move this up with your arrow key 1 space. Or you could take the green piece and stretch it up or down. Either way, it's up to you. Right now it should still be centered. And so let's try combine and unite again. And there you have it. Let's change that color back to mint green, and you can see those cut lines there are gone. So it's not exactly like this one here, but it's pretty close. And nobody's going to know but you. So there's that piece. We've made that. We can get rid of all of these. And we don't really need to keep this anymore, but that's what we used. And this one, again, you're going to start with a rectangle. So we're going to go to shapes. We're going to select a rectangle. You can use the squared corner square or the rounded one. It's not really going to matter. We're also going to need 4 circles. Actually, I'm not going to do it 4 because I want to size it first. So I'll delete that one. That way I don't have to size 2 of them. So we're going to pull this down here. And we're going to get some measurements off this guy. So he is 1.738 wide. So we're just going to type that in here, 1.738. And then we want to, it is unlocked. Okay, stay unlocked. Okay, so the height now is 0.856. So 0.856. There you go. So now you've got this little bitty circle here. We're going to make it even smaller, and we're going to figure out where we want this, how much of a chunk we want taken out of there. So now that I've got it sized pretty good, I'm going to hit duplicate, and I'm going to bring it over, and I'm going to align them at the top or the bottom. And I think that, and then I'm going to duplicate. Actually, I'm going to group the, well, I am going to group it. I don't know that I need to, but I'm going to. So I've got it grouped, and now I'm going to duplicate that. And I cut, oop, it gets me every time. All right, so then we want this down here somewhere. So now I'm going to take this one while it's highlighted and the one prior that we copied it from, and I'm going to align those to the left or the right. There's the right. And I want to combine those. We'll just go ahead and weld them. And now we want to center everything. So we're going to select all of that and align and center. And now we can slice and pull that away. Voila. Again, it's not an exact duplicate of what was there before, but it's pretty close. Let's see if we can bring this to the front. We can lay it over the top, and you can see it's pretty close. So there you go. That's how you can make your own snow globe base. I will go ahead and link this file below if you want it, if you don't want to, if you don't have access to Design Space, you know, if you don't pay for a membership and you only have access to the free the free things in there, the free shapes. I'll go ahead and put the link down below in the comments. Well, I'll put the link to the Facebook group or page in the comments, and then you can go to that to get the link to this free image in Design Space. Oh, tripping all over myself there. So I'm going to get rid of this, and because this is the original one, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to shrink this back down a little bit, and because we used it in here, it still shows up somewhere. So what I'm going to have to do is, and we didn't even get around to using that one, and it does stay better rounded. Excuse me. So if you put the 2 circles on the end of the rectangle, you don't lose your shape as bad. Oh, looky there. That worked the best. All right, but I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of, let's see, let's make our circle here We're going to have to remake that since it's got this base in the bottom. So let's get a circle shape, and we're going to need a score line. Well, actually I could reuse the score lines I've already got, so oh well. So I'm going to close this. I liked it better when it closed itself. Let's go light gray. So normally we work in 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 size cards here in the US. So I'm going to make this 4 1/4 wide. And you'll see that that is, let me bring that to the front now. That gives you a nice frame around it. Now you can make this darker gray piece bigger if you like. That's just the size I've been working with, but you can certainly do that. I'm going to change this to like a gold. Put that on the green. There we go. So to make your easel card, you're going to need 2 of these round shapes. So we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to line them up to the left or the right. Oh, where did I go? And then we just want to kind of get our where we're going to have our fold. So we want them connected. If you connect them too little, you're going to get a wobbly fold there. So I like to give them a little bit more connection maybe than they need. Let's try that. I think that's probably pretty good. Oh, I could even make it a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to combine. I'm just going to go ahead and weld them. And then we're going to take, it's stuck on me again. What's going on here? This one kind of disappeared on me. It's there. Alright, I'll just do it this way. So I'm going to grab those score lines and I'm going to move them over. So what I need to do is I'm going to duplicate them, and then we'll move them over. So this bottom one here, I really want to just center that. And this top one then can go wherever you want it. Now, you probably don't want to go past the halfway point there, so you're going to want to keep it from either halfway or down. I kind of like maybe a third of the way, but you can move that, put that where you like it best. And that goes all the way across. So the next thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take your base here, and you're going to want to center your card over the base, something like that. Maybe not quite that much, but let's go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to attach everything real quickly. Just because I don't want those score lines to move. So now we're going to align and center horizontally. Okay, it didn't look like it moved at all, so that's good. So now I'm going to have to detach those. And now we want to select the folded easel portion of the card as well as the base, and we're going to combine and weld or unite. There you go. Now we send that to the back. I guess I didn't go back far enough. There we go. So now you can see your 2 score lines are right there. Got this top one here and this bottom one. And I might slide this one down just a little bit more. Okay, so there you have it. So, oh, you know what I did and what I didn't do was I didn't make a copy of that base. Alright, so I'm going to Control Z here a couple times. I should have duplicated that before I combined it. That's interesting. It should have, there we go. Alright, so now I'm going to duplicate that. Maybe if I make it like a light brown. And let's go advanced. Don't want it that dark. There we go. And we'll send that to the back. Okay, so now we're going to pick all this again. So this is the 2 round pieces that we welded to make the card base. Now we're going to select the portion that we made that's here in green for the actual globe base, and we're going to combine, and I'm going to weld. And then I'm going to send that to the bottom or the back. There's our score marks. I'm going to select everything and attach, because you don't want those score marks, you know, anywhere else other than right where they are when you cut that out. And then we're going to move this to the front and bring it over, and that way you can cut that out of a different color of cardstock if you like. And then we've got this piece, which will be the front of our card. Now, like I said, you can make that bigger if you want. I'm going to go ahead and delete all that, and I'm going to delete everything else so that you can, there we go. Because there's stuff in there that's part of access. If you don't have the membership, you wouldn't be able to open it. Alright, so there you go. There's your snow globe. So I'm going to just kind of group everything together. We'll slide that back over. And that was made just using free shapes. So that's kind of something I learned from Melody Lane, that you don't have to have access to make cards using your Cricut. It's worth it in my opinion, but if you are on a budget or you just don't want to deal with learning another software program, which is where I find myself in this stage of life, so I totally understand, you can just use free shapes to make your own stuff just by combining and slicing and all of that. So I'm going to save this one, and let's see, we'll save it. We'll do a save as, and I'm going to do ECS Snow Globe from Free Shapes, and we'll put that out there in the easel cards and my share files, and I will link that below. So if you were interested on, curious how to do that, now you know. It's really relatively simple, and it just takes a little bit of time. So thank y'all. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and until next time, happy crafting or happy cricketing, whichever suits you. All right, guys, thank you so much.